Welcome everyone to episode 6 of the Northeast Retro Den podcast. At 6, we've got as far as where you can't count the episodes on one hand, unless you live in Sunderland. Today, I'm joined by the immortal Chris Sager and the Fagin of the Northeast Retro Den scene, Michael Henderson, luring all sorts of children into his arcade of promise.
Sounds so wrong, yet so right.
It does. We'll explain. Don't worry, we'll explain. He hardly ever does that. This is Northeast Retro Den Nerdcast number 6.
Lockdown
is no more, but we're still kind of stuck in to play some games. What's everyone been up to? I'll start if you like, because I usually don't. I've been playing that new Battletoads on. Have you seen it? The remake of Battletoads.
I've seen it. Is it any good, is it?
It's really good fun. Aye. It's on Xbox Game Pass. You can get on like PC or Xbox One that way. Yeah, it's odd. It plays a lot like Streets of Rage 4 in places, but it's got loads of weird mini games. Like bits of it are like a shoot 'em up. Bits of it are puzzle game. There's a bit where you've got to do like someone's office work for them, and it's got a really good sense of humor. It's fun. I've been laughing at it.
Is it as hard as the Super NES versions? Or?
No idea.
No idea.
That's good. That's a good thing, though, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I've finished it, so it can't be that hard.
Oh, how much was that, Simon?
It's free. It's free on Game Pass.
Right.
I think otherwise it's like 15 quid or something. I think. But
Cool.
if there's a physical copy comes out, I'll be after it.
Yeah.
Because I'll play that again. Definitely.
Yeah, cool. I'll be after that.
Really funny. It takes the piss out of itself a lot.
Oh, cool. That's what you
Takes
want.
piss out the whole genre. So it's good. Other than that, haven't you been doing a lot?
I think I've been watching more TV than playing games. Cobra Kai. Anyone?
Never seen
Brilliant.
it.
I've been raving about that for about a year. Where's everyone been? Where you been?
I know. Cobra Kai, The Mandalorians, the new series just been announced. Well,
Is it been announced? I love the first series.
Trailer dropped today, didn't it? Well, today
Yeah.
in our world, yeah.
yeah. What else? Oh, The Boys.
Oh, I've been watching season 2 of The Boys. Yes, how good is that?
So I've never watched The Boys until last night. I watched the first episode of the first series last night with the last with the arms and all that when he's left with their arms.
It's so good. So good.
Well, that's all I've watched. I was hooked. I really liked it. So that's going to be my thing now, I think. The Boys, yeah.
I mean, we're not going to get into spoilers, but I'm up to where they're up to currently on Amazon with The Boys. I think they've just run the first 4, haven't they? All I say is the bit with the whale. Oh my God.
I watched that last night. We were like...
No, I'm just sat there absolutely stunned at what I'd just seen on telly.
Yeah. It's so good, isn't it? You couldn't get away with that 10. You couldn't get away with that 10 years ago, could you?
I'm surprised they get away with it now. I mean,
it's internet telly though. It's not proper telly, is it? It's internet telly. It's like
it is.
Netflix and Amazon. They just got a free pass to do whatever they want all the time now. I think.
Yeah. Just money.
Cobra Kai though, I love Cobra Kai. It's like it ticks all the boxes for a proper cheesy TV series. So I love like 80s rock music, and every episode's got at least one in. And the story's great. It's exactly what you want Karate Kid Carry On to be. It's amazing.
I've
only seen series coming out soon.
Yeah. I've been meaning to watch it. John Chandler's been going on about it for ages. I'll have to take it.
I mean, it's cheesy. I mean, it's never going to win any Oscars, but it's class. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyone seen any of that other thing? Is it on Netflix? The games thing. What's it called?
High Score.
High Score.
Yeah, I watched it through. Yeah. So I was a bit behind everybody. I've just started watching it. It's good. It's good. It's not going to win any Oscars. It's not The Last Dance, and it's very like selective about what it talks about. But there's a few things that I just genuinely like Pac-Man, and then the guys who hacked Pac-Man and what have you, and made Miss Pac-Man. I knew nothing about that. That was
I've
really
just watched
interesting.
that episode, yeah, because I haven't seen them all. I watched that one. I knew about that. I didn't know the detail they went into, mind, to be fair.
Good.
But yeah, that and ended up just getting hired.
Yeah, it was good because later on the play another developer off against, because there was a lawsuit, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was, yeah.
And the player, so basically they dropped the lawsuit. Was it Nintendo? I can't remember.
Because it would be Midway who they settled with, wasn't it? But
so they settled with Midway, and then they went to another. I forget what the other person was. Was it
Namco or someone? Anyway,
it wasn't Namco. Anyway, they basically said, "Look, we took our Midway and won, and now we're going to, if you want to fight, we can win again." And then they just ended up getting more. It was good. It was good, but it was very select. They missed a lot of stuff out. Like for me, like they talked about Sega, they talked about the Mega Drive. It was all about the Mega Drive, but they didn't talk about like Sega and the arcade, which to me is in the 90s. That's what Sega was. That's what Sega aspired to be. The home arcades were all aspiring to be what the arcades were. The arcade wars in the 90s is massive. I don't know why they didn't talk about that.
To be honest, I didn't know much about the arcade wars until recently.
Yeah.
With Sega, Sega, had pumped way more money than Nintendo into arcades themselves.
Well, yeah, Nintendo started didn't originally start. They were a playing card company, as I told you in that program. But Nintendo got their jump into video games mainly through releasing Donkey Kong, and then they did a few others. But then once the NES came out, Nintendo seemed to back away from arcades quite a lot. In fact, I don't think they probably did the odd one. I think they did a version of Punch Out, didn't they? And they probably didn't do another great arcade game until Killer Instinct that I can think of.
Absolutely.
Was Killer Instinct really great though?
It was looking back on it, it wasn't. It's not great now, but at the time, people were quite hello with the whole ray traced graphics and stuff on it.
Yeah.
Or the thing in the 90s, after we'd seen Terminator 2 and stuff. So, and it used to advertise, the Killer Instinct card used to say coming soon to Ultra 64.
Yeah, yeah, the Ultra 64. Yeah.
And then it did come to the Nintendo 64 eventually, and was all right.
I can't think of any Killer Instincts on any console that were worth playing.
The SNES version was fun. It was stripped down a lot, but it was good fun at the time. We played it loads.
It was nowhere near as good as Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. The one on
probably, for me, it was on par with Pit Fighter.
No, it's better than Pit Fighter.
Yeah.
The recent one, the last one on Xbox One, was quite good fun if you've not played it. It's got loads of characters and stuff. It's good.
It's on a par with Pit Fighter with me as well. Rubbish, to be honest.
Oh, go on, Mike. How are Oh no. Anyways, we're on the podcast, so there's no.
I'm recording it.
It's not enough to hold you. Whereas Street Fighter 2, Turbo, Mortal Kombat, they were the ones, weren't they, back in the day?
See, I thought Mortal Kombat was shit. I genuinely did.
You weren't there though, Chris.
No, I wasn't in the arc. So I played Mortal Kombat. I just thought it's all about the violence. Whereas Street Fighter was all about the tactics.
Yeah, but it was such a stir when Mortal Kombat came out. I can remember Mortal Kombat at first coming out in Whitley Bay arcades, and we've been playing Street Fighter, and we've been playing some Neo Geo fighters, and then Mortal Kombat, and we was just the digitized graphics looked amazing. Yeah. And then there was a crowd round it, Whitley Bay arcades, and the first time we saw someone do a fatality, someone did Scorpions where he takes his hood off and burns them up. I think that was the easiest one. And we were just like, whoa! And everyone was talking about it at school.
See, this is why I think I don't like it, because I can never get the hang of the fatalities and that. Button combinations, wasn't it? Each fighter had a fatality, and it was like, I can never do it. So
when the console versions came out, that was huge. Everyone was waiting for it to come out, and the disappointment when the SNES version was all censored.
Yeah,
I bought the SNES version, and the Computer and Video Games magazine had an April Fool in it that if you sellotaped a penny to the top of your SNES
That's
cartridge,
amazing.
right, you could then put a cheat in because it tricked it, because it then thought it was a pre-production cart and thus was heavier. So you could do this button combination that would unlock the blood. In which dipstick sellotaped a penny to the top of his SNES cart.
Unlock the blood. I love it.
Well, the Mega Drive version, it had a setting in it. You could change the blood on or off.
It was a cheat code.
Was it cheat code? Was it? Yeah, you could turn it on or off, couldn't you?
But it's straight. We told you there was a cheat code when you start the game on Mega Drive. It says something along the lines of "There are many codes in life. There may even be a code hidden in this game," or something. It tells you there's a code.
You can do them with a lot of arcades as well, Chris.
Or cheat codes?
No, like blood. If you want the blood on or not.
Oh yeah.
There's
House of the Dead.
Yeah.
House of the Dead's like that. House of the Dead, it's got green blood, but you can change it to red.
Operation Wolf 3. That's got the same thing.
Metal Slug. Metal Slug. If you can change either just sort of sweat comes out of them or blood.
Great game.
I didn't know that. I love Metal Slug as well. I didn't know that.
I think as a default, the Western versions don't have blood.
Yeah,
so
well, I've never seen blood in Metal Slug.
Yeah, if you've got a UniBIOS and that allows you to change which region it thinks the game's playing on, it will have red blood if it's Japanese.
Ah.
And so when they die, there's like fountains of blood goes up. It looks great. But the thing with the Neo Geo is it's all in the console. The games are the same, whether it's Japanese, American, European, whatever. The cartridge, when you put into the machine, reads what the machine is and is thus. So it reads, I'm in an American machine, therefore you're not having blood. So, but unless you've got a UniBIOS, which replaces it and allows you to choose what you want.
Anyway, Chris, what do you think of the Sega basketball?
It's fucking shite. I hear it. Yeah, I see. I commented on somebody. Was it Faith? She put something up with the basketball thing, and I said something about the blue and white ball, and I seen that you liked it, and I thought you twat.
You knew what was coming, didn't you? You knew what was coming.
There's no one got a Sega collection like her though. Bloody hell.
Amazing, yeah.
Massive.
Yeah. It's a Sonic, and she's got Sonic. I think for every variation of different.
Everything by Sonic Team, yeah. Class,
Yeah.
like variations that so obscure. In Korea, they did a one with a slightly different coloured corner.
Yeah,
she'll have it.
Right.
I wish I could be that focused with my collecting.
Yeah,
there is some bizarre people up there because I've got Retro Gamer magazine, which a lot of people have. I used to have a subscription, but I cancelled it because I just think that they're all the same. They never got a date, do they? So I had there was a Shenmue 3 special edition. If you subscribe, you get the subscribers edition with a different cover, and it's a black one. It's got like shiny logo, and it's got like Ryo's face and all the rest of it, Ryo. And I'd put a listing on eBay to sell a lot of Retro Gamer stuff, subscriber editions. And this bloke messages and said, if you subscribe, and I'm assuming that you've got the next episode that comes out, I'll give you 40 quid for it right here, right now. And I was like, no, I'm just gonna keep. So no, I've cancelled my subscription, but I've kept that copy ever since. And it goes for quite a bit of money on eBay now.
Yeah, because the subscribers get a different cover to everybody else. Yeah,
that was the last one I got.
I'm a subscriber. I've subscribed to it.
You got the black Shenmue one.
I've only just recently subscribed the last 4 or 5 months.
See, this is why I stopped. Yeah, I stopped as well. You know why I stopped? Because it doesn't matter if I buy one from 20 years ago. Well, they didn't make it 20 years ago. See, I bought one from 10 years ago, or I bought one tomorrow. I can get one on eBay for 2 quid, and it's got the same information as it got today because it's a retro. It's an old-fashioned. It's talking about old-fashioned games. Nothing changes.
Well, no, it does. Because it does look at things like the new mini consoles or Streets of Rage 4 or something like that. It does cover stuff like that as well. Different take.
But it's very like, it's very.
You're so cynical.
Predominantly talks about old games, isn't it? It's like at the moment.
It's not just old games though. I mean, I like the back pages where it delves into people's collections.
Yeah, that's great. I love that.
Great fun. I love it.
Um,
That's really interesting to see what other people collect.
But
I've been the
bought
featured
it
collector.
5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Have you really?
I was the featured collector in, I can't remember what number it was. It was the issue with Wipeout 2097 on the front.
Well, with all our subscribers on Nerdcast, that issue's now bumped up about 5 pence, Si. Because
I'll sign it for you. Yeah.
Yay.
I bought 2
Good on you,
copies.
mate.
So, guys, one of the things that we thought we'd talk about this time was gaming addictions or being addicted to gaming. Not necessarily, in the awful way where some poor kid in South Korea spends 48 hours addicted to World of Warcraft or something and gets carried away in an ambulance. In some internet cafe.
didn't he?
It's happened a few times.
I know it was StarCraft, wasn't it? StarCraft, the kid died. Anyway, sorry.
I'm sure that's of great comfort to his family. Thanks for that, Chris.
Yeah, sorry. if you're watching, I'm sorry. I do apologise.
I'm sure he's not watching.
No.
He's not watching.
Oh my god. Cut.
It's at this point I'd like to point out that the views of Chris Sager do not necessarily represent those of Nerdcast or indeed the Northeast Retro Den.
Mm-hmm.
All Chris's views are his own.
StarCraft was a great game.
Don't we have his address if we need it?
StarCraft was just a massive Warhammer 40,000 rip. Let's be real.
It was class. Talking about gaming addiction, I was addicted to that for a long time.
Yeah. I've never played it, to be honest. Whenever I see it, it puts us off because I see it, and you see these like Space Marines and things that look like the Tyranids and stuff, and I just can't get out of my head. They've ripped all that.
Just to go on a bit of a, I love StarCraft. So StarCraft, basically, there was 3 different factions you could have. There was like the Zerg, which were like the aliens, Terran, which was like the Marines, and there was a Proton, who were like the advanced space guys. I don't know, and they're just so well balanced. That's why it was such a great game. It doesn't matter who you picked; they all had their own strengths and weaknesses. It's such a brilliant game, honestly. You need to get into it. Great, brilliant game. Anyway, sorry.
And it's one of the rarest N64 games.
No, I would never play it on the N64. It was always a PC game for me. You could play it on the PC.
Well, neither did anybody else. That's why it's one of the rarest N64 games.
Yeah, I don't know why you want to play it on the N64, to be honest. But yeah,
no,
I never played it. Yeah.
So gaming addictions. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be, the dark side of it. It can be just if there's a certain series where you have to get every entry in it. Certain games where you always want to finish it to the end. You'll play it more than once. You always want 100% it, that sort of thing. I mean, give an example. I tend not to 100% games. I'll tend to blast through the story and do some of the side missions. But there's been, a couple where I just couldn't put them down until they were 100%ed. Marvel's Spider-Man on PS4 was like that for me.
Yeah, same, brilliant, yeah.
I had to make sure I wasn't getting too far ahead in the story because I wanted to make sure I did everything in the game. It was that good.
Yeah, same, yeah. Brilliant game. It was, Mick was saying he was playing it, but he's a weird ill, isn't he? But the only achievement I didn't get was the one, because you can get all the suits, can't you? Or you can get all the abilities.
Aye.
I got all the abilities, and then I didn't go back and play it again to get all the suits, but yeah. I got quite far. Anyway, yeah, sorry.
Anyway,
and the other game I've done that. Sorry.
I'll tell you about the gaming addiction. Plants vs Zombies.
Oh, get in, yes.
On the phone.
No.
Honestly.
Xbox 360
no,
for me.
honestly. On the phone, it was just ridiculously addictive. I had to take it off in the end. At all time, any time of the day, on the toilet, at work, anyway, you just want to complete that next level. Now that is an addiction.
Me and Tracy were both into it, and we both finished the game, the story mode as it is. But there was an achievement on Xbox 360, and I assume PS3 as well. It was something like, it was called something like Survive 50 Waves of Zombie, something or other. And it would just get harder and harder as you went on. And we did it. It took us ages. We had to learn how to do it. It took us, when you finally do it, it takes you an hour or two. to survive all of these waves. And there's a certain strategy to it. You have to build up your garden a certain way and then gradually change it to adapt to the. Honestly, if anyone's got it on 360 or PS3 still, look up the achievement. And here's my challenge to you, people out there. See if you can do that, because it's one of my favorite achievements I've ever managed. And then, because I did it, Tracy was really annoyed. And she sat there for hours until she did it as well. So,
isn't it an addictive game?
it's so simple, but so brilliant.
Isn't it?
And then
It
they
makes you
ruined
want
it
to-
with the sequels.
It makes you want to get to the next level and the next
Mhm.
level and the next level.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I once had a Halloween party, and a lad I know came along as Crazy Dave. The guy with the palm on his head and the seeds and stuff.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I
Thought, wow,
loved it. I did.
Michael, I don't say this often, but what a great pick you.
Thank you.
Instead of just annoying all of our viewers, you've actually come up with something good. Keep it up.
It's only taken 6 episodes.
Yeah. But it was for a simple game. How addictive it is, you know.
It's getting on a bit now, isn't it? It's
Yeah, I've been here for 7 or 8 years probably.
it's over 10, I would have thought.
But good fun.
Maybe, yeah.
It's
But good fun. It's not
Fantastic.
your final. It's not your Final Fantasies or Metal Gear Solids or Zeldas, but it's
I
still
think-
great fun.
it's possibly the game that popularised tower defense, though. That's the phrase, isn't it, for what those sort of games are called?
Tower defense,
Yeah. Played a few that I've liked, but that's the best one. Yeah.
But there you go. That's my input on that.
What about you, Chris? Then
Well,
you can't just say
Once
I like
again,
Spider-Man
Michael's
as
just
well.
like- yeah, no. It was Michael just slammed us again because I said, "Oh yeah, your Final Fantasy Metal Gear Solid." So I'm going to pick Final Fantasy 7 because So I played it when I was in my teens, and like loved it, played it through, and then forgot about it, and then probably in my early 20s I was talking to my friend and he was like, "Oh, I'm playing Final Fantasy 7," and I was like, "Oh, I love that game," and I started playing it again, and then it became a bit of a tradition for us. Every summer for about 5, 6, 7 years, I did Final Fantasy 7 all the way through, but all the way through. So I did, all the side missions and got Knights of the Round and what have you, and loved it. So for me, that's my addiction because that's probably the one I've probably spent more hours on. I know you like Final Fantasy side.
I do. Final Fantasy 7. I got that when it came out. Absolutely loved it. It's a bit of a sore subject with one of my mates, actually. If she's watching this, my old flatmate, Catherine. Sorry. She was my old flatmate. We used to live together. We used to both work together as well. We used to finish work at Central Station and we'd head home and we'd play like Final Fantasy or Resident Evil or whatever. And I've completed Final Fantasy 7 and she was onto the last disc. And when she was out one day, I sold the PlayStation with her memory card in it. And to this day, she still reminds me of that.
It's the thing with Final Fantasy 7. It was such an so my mate was telling us a story once where he was playing Final Fantasy 7 through, and he didn't have a memory card. He had to pause it, and he was about 15 hours in, and he's on like the second disc, and there was a power cut, and he's never played a Final Fantasy game ever since. Because he's lost his. Why would you play a massive game like that without a save disc anyway? I think the first time I played it was about 60 hours, but it's probably about 30 hours now. You played it all the way through if you're smart.
I remember people playing like Resident Evil and just leaving it on all night.
Yeah.
And
You can do that. Resident Evil's only what you can do. The original Resident Evil. You talking about Resident Evil 2 maybe?
No, this is the first one. The second one, I think, is shorter, isn't it?
Shorter, yeah. You got the different scenarios. The first one you can do 4.5 hours, something like that, if you normal playthrough.
All right.
Yeah. But so Final Fantasy 7, yeah, I love it. I love going back and having to unlock all the secrets as you go through and what have you, and then love it. Then the remake came out recently, and
That
I really enjoyed
remaster
that.
recently as well, didn't they? Not the remake, the sort of reissued
remaster, sorry.
it. Yeah, the remaster where it's the same game, but you can sort of fast forward the grindy
You
bit.
can press like ×3 speed. So you can just like, you can finish the whole game in like 20 hours. You can just grind your way to like level 70, level 80. Yeah. Because if you do that, you don't actually need to get the special bosses and what have you. The special guardian summons. You can just go straight to the final boss and just smash up with like, yeah, it's good fun. Sorry,
It's a good game, but one that I'm sure Michael's never probably played.
He's never played any games, has he?
No.
Head of the, yeah,
Never played Final Fantasy games. Not interested.
yeah. Well, it's a retro game, so you wouldn't be.
No. I mean, I remember when they came out. I just thought it was crap.
You tend to find, Chris, drug dealers tend not to be users.
Yes. Winners don't take drugs.
That was a video game reference.
Yeah. Retro.
Arcade. It was on certain Technos games and things, wasn't it?
Lots of
WWF
them, yeah.
Superstars and things would start with winners don't take drugs. Yeah.
Loads of them. Yeah. Anyway,
Hulk Hogan there sitting there all muscled up.
on to our next subject. Chris?
Sorry, I thought I was the host, but off you go, Michael. Aye.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean that you're boring. Is there anything?
No. I am moving swiftly on. Michael, have you got something to say?
No, none at all. I just know what we're going to talk about our next subject, which is Chris.
What is the next subject? Was it we're talking about the
Sequels?
Sequels.
Great sequels to games you never played.
Great
Yes.
sequels to games you never played.
That's what you wanted.
This was your suggestion, Chris.
Yeah,
Cool.
well, I just like the tagline. I think it's awesome.
Well,
Can you
at
tell
first
us?
we were like, because at first we were like, what you're talking about? But when we thought about it a bit deeper, there's quite a lot of games where the sequel is far more famous than the original, and a lot of people they might know the original exists, but they probably never played it. And for what Chris, said, something like the first Final Fantasy game I played was Final Fantasy VII. I was aware there must have been 6 before it, but I never played them. What is your choice on that one, Chris?
Well, we were talking about it today, and we were like listing all the games that it could be.
Yeah.
There's some obvious ones that stick out, but I'm going to go with Metal Gear Solid because I never played Metal Gear on the SNES. Is that right?
I thought you were going to go for Final Fantasy VII. That's why.
No, I'm not. The reason I'm not. The reason I'm not is because I played Final Fantasy VII without knowing anything about the originals. But then since I've played probably every single one since. Like I went back and I've done 6, I've done 3, and I've probably like dabbled in 1 and 2 and the other ones. So I'm going to say Metal Gear Solid because I absolutely love Metal Gear Solid. It's a game that when it came out just like captivated us, and a lot of people were the same. Had all the fancy
Amazing.
the codes on the back of the CD box, but we all played it chipped. So what the fuck's a CD box? You had to go through one by one every single frequency to find the right frequency. Yeah. Things like that, and I never, years later, I didn't realize there was a game before it, which computer game fans everywhere be saying, well, yeah, there was, yeah, but I'm younger than you guys. I didn't know. There was the original Metal Gear. But Metal Gear Solid for me is just a masterpiece of a game, and it still is.
It was for me the first one that really nailed the cinematic style of video game.
Yeah.
First time you played a game where it felt like you're playing like a movie or a sort of high-end TV show. The proper plot and twists and stuff like that.
When Sniper Wolf dies, you're just like, you're probably choked up, aren't you? You're sitting there like 12-year-olds in front of the TV, and Sniper Wolf's like dying.
Hold on. Are you giving away plot?
There was a spoiler there. I don't know if anyone's
Yeah.
heard it.
Sorry to anybody who hasn't played Metal Gear Solid.
Me?
Yeah, but you don't play games with established.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Fancy zombies. Yeah.
But it totally captivated me, and it wasn't just a storyline, because you're right. The cinematic storyline was amazing. The cutscenes of the PlayStation were fantastic, but it wasn't just that. It was the game itself. The stealth. Stealth just wasn't really a big thing in games up until then. I don't think.
Not like that, no.
No, and it was just, and the music, you know, at the start when Konami comes on the screen, and it's got that little jingle from Police Notes comes up, and straight away, for me, even now, the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. And then all the way through, it's brilliant. The music, the atmosphere, the story, the game itself, it's just fantastic. I love it.
You talk about obviously you said you played it like on a pirated copy of it, so you didn't have the code on the back of the box, and you had to dingle through them all to find it.
Yeah.
I can go on better than that. When we played it, it wasn't out here yet, and we played a pirated Japanese copy of the game.
So you can read it.
So we didn't even know we're supposed to be looking for something. And we finished it in Japanese. There's no way of a lie. Me and my mate Cam finished it in Japanese. And I could not tell you now how the hell we figured out that you had to swap the joypad for Psycho Mantis.
Psycho Mantis, yeah. You had to put it in player 2, didn't you? Because he used to predict what you were going to do if you put it in player 1. But if you put it in player 2, yeah.
Someone must have told her, because you couldn't figure that out yourself. And he's not. Although saying that, people did, because even when you play it in English, it doesn't tell you to do that. Or does the general tell you? I think if you keep failing
no, it doesn't. When you fight Psycho Mantis, I think you can't beat him in the player 1 port. It's almost like a bit of a cheat if you put in player 2. It's because he reads your memory card from
he does. Yeah.
Yes, but I don't know if you don't put your memory card in player 2, he doesn't read it properly. Maybe so you knew to put it in the second one. Because he says things like, because it depends if you play other Konami games. So like
he does. He reads Castlevania and he reads
Pez.
What was it, Pez at the time, or was it ISS?
It was International Soccer.
International Superstar Soccer.
Yeah. So I mean, it sounds daft now when you're talking about it. You're like, oh, is that it? But at the time, it was like, wow. And you know, you have the DualShock controller.
He tells you to put it down, doesn't he?
Put it down, and he starts moving your controller back and forward, and then you're like, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, love it. It's just a great game. It just like, I mean, the PlayStation, you know, had some great games, but they're like that has got to be one of the pinnacle games from the PlayStation. It's phenomenal.
Did you ever play Twin Snakes, the GameCube remake?
Yeah, I sold it recently. I didn't like it.
No,
I didn't like it. The music was different. The controls were too. So the original was very like, you could use the analog stick, but it was much easier if you used the D-pad.
Right.
Well, up, down, left, right. And on the GameCube, it just seemed to be very like, I couldn't get the hang of it. I didn't finish it. I got probably, what's the guy in the tank in the snow? What's he called again? Vulcan Raven? Or?
Yes.
No.
Vulcan Raven's the guy with the big minigun thing, isn't he?
But has he now got the tank at the start as well, though?
You remember this better than I do, Chris. Boy.
Anyway, I probably got to about there, and I just couldn't for the life of us get the hang of the controls. It looked great, but the music wasn't quite right. Now I couldn't get wrong with the controls. There's probably gonna be people on Facebook now saying I'm daft for not playing it through or whatever. But it wasn't the original. The original's great. I don't know why. I think the GameCube was too soon a generation to do a remaster of it.
Actually, it was just doing the same game. It was Metal Gear 1, but done in the Metal Gear 2 engine, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But they then went and redid all of the voices and music and stuff, which probably didn't need to do.
That was it, yeah. Didn't need to do it, yeah.
Cool. All right, Mikey boy, what you got for?
Well, it was going to be
Metal Gear
Mario. It was going to be a Mario game. It was going to be Mario 3, which isn't a direct sequel. Obviously, it's a third installment.
You're trying to tell me that when Mario 3 came out, people went to wear a Mario 1 and 2?
Not many people enjoyed Mario 2. And anyway, I know that.
People wondering what the hell that great plastic cartridge was that came with their NES. I was thinking it was just for Duck Hunt.
But for me, it's got to be Streets of Rage 2.
Okay.
Right, okay.
I know a lot of people did, obviously Streets of Rage, but the sequel far outweighed the original.
It's much better, that's for certain.
It did, yeah, it was.
It is way better. It is way better. And not only that, it stands up even now. Me and the kids we can play this. To me, it's on a par with Streets of Rage 4 with playability. with me and my 10-year-old daughter. Can play this now, and it's great fun. The two-player on this, and she loves it.
Probably
She's 10 years old.
Probably says a lot more for Streets of Rage 4 actually than just for 2, because you all know 2 is amazing. It shows how good 4 was, that it stands up to 2.
Definitely.
Can I just tell you, it's now that on my it's the 15th of September. I still haven't played Streets of Rage 4 because mine still hasn't came through the post.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't want to download the digital version because I'd ordered the physical version. But I ordered the physical version with Panzer Dragoon. Panzer Dragoon hasn't been released.
Dragoon
yet,
hasn't shipped yet, so limited run won't have sent you yet. Yeah.
I only got mine last week. My physical copy.
You had the digital copy, didn't you?
I bought the digital copy on the day because I wanted it. You had to have it.
I should have done. To be fair,
I just got it on what's it called? Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass had it on day 1, so I played through it on Game Pass while I waited for the physical copy from limited run.
Yeah, I mean it's worth it. It was
Plus.
I think it was £17 on the Switch, but it's worth it all day long. I mean,
can I have a bit of a rant though on Streets of Rage 2? Because you're right. It's so when you get like a Mega Drive compilation, you go to Streets of Rage 2. You don't go 1 or 3. You go Streets of Rage 2.
Absolutely.
Them bastard motorcycles on stage 2 or 3 pisses me right off. Like
it's true. Yeah, they're just. I'm sorry. I beat them.
1 week later.
So welcome back again. We're back with the rest of the Northeast Retro Den podcast, and continuity be damned. We're wearing different clothes. Facial hair has changed. And we have YouTuber Faith in our midst from Retro Faith. How are you doing, Faith?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing, Simon?
That's all a bit of a seeing you. And a bit of glamour to the Northeast Retro Den podcast.
Oh, Essex glamour.
Yeah. Well, trust us, the guy you're replacing, obviously, he's not a bad-looking fella, but he's an acquired taste, is Mick. So, Scottish guy with a massive beard.
Oh, I like beards.
Oh, well, you'd like Mick. Anyway, so we've been talking about gaming addictions, games that we're addicted to, things like that. But what I'll do first, sorry, Faith, we'll get to know who you are. I mean, I think your channel's a lot bigger than this one. But in case anyone doesn't know.
That's an investigator.
I know. I love the way I'm framing it as if we're doing her a favour. Yeah.
It's all a bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Okie doke. So what we'll do to get you in the swing of things is what we usually do is what we call Fun 5. Now, normally what this
Sounds fun.
Yeah, 5 quick fire questions, and we just want you to pick one of the 2 answers just to get an idea of where you stand with your chosen realm in this retro world of ours.
Oh, yeah. Go on then. Yeah.
Okay, so question 1. Nights into Dreams or Burning Rangers?
Nights and Streams.
Good choice. Sega Rally or Daytona USA?
Daytona, USA.
Oh, no hesitation there. Golden Axe or Altered Beast?
Golden Axe.
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure or Mario 64?
Oh, do you know? Oh, what? I'm going to say Mario 64. It's a brilliant game.
And this is champion of all things Sega Retro Faith. Okay.
I can't lie. It's one of the best games ever. I'd be a fool to try and think that Sonic Adventure is better than Mario 64.
In your face, Michael.
I know.
Michael doesn't like anything N64, you see.
Take my Sega card away now. Oh,
Dr. Eggman or Dr. Robotnik?
Eggman.
He's Eggman too. He's always Robotnik.
Yes,
to me.
because I tell you why, because I first had a Japanese import of Mega Drive and Sonic, and so it was always Eggman.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I only found out about Robotnik when Sonic the Comic came out.
That was always Robotnik for me. Aye. And
Yeah, same here.
yeah. Okay, look. Well, that was the most uncontroversial Fun 5 we've ever done. Chris, so what we'll do is, so we'll ask you a few things about you. So, as you know, your faith, your retro faith, and you have your own YouTube channel called Retro Faith.
Yeah.
Tends to focus on most things Sega, from what I can make out. So Chris
Mostly.
Sega is quite the fan, aren't you, mate?
I am.
So we'll have a link down below in the description. But so if you just tell us what inspired you to start your YouTube channel.
Well, it started from, let's go back about 20 years before YouTube started. I am a huge Sonic collector, and I don't just mean sort of inwardly collecting games. I'm passionate about building it as a community, and I'm really passionate about logging Sega games, and especially Sonic Team games, and where they come from and different variants, and building up this big database. So things like, you know, these big Sega websites that we have. So I've given lots of information and helped to provide lots of information to them. And it actually started when I was on one of the Facebook groups and sharing lots of photos of my Sega collection and talking to people about it. And someone said, oh, you don't do YouTube. To be honest, I'd never really even watched YouTube beyond, you know, how to fix a tap or something kind of stuff. I never really thought about it in the sense of there's a massive retro community. When I sort of looked into it, I was like, oh my God, there's all these people talking about retro games. So, and I didn't know what to do. And someone just said, just give it a shot. And I started with a phone, and it just went from there. And I really love it now. I think it was actually the community that inspired me, because they said, we'd love to see more of your collection, not just in photos, and to hear you talking more about it. Because a lot of people are always interested in the little facts I put into like these little mini Facebook posts about, you know, where the games come from. And people said you could probably get a lot more information over if you did it in a video. So that's where it started from. So yeah, that was January last year, I think, about 18 months ago, roughly.
Do you remember which Facebook page it was?
It was probably someone on Galaxy Sega, most likely, because that's where I kind of hang out the most in terms of Facebook. But it might be Retro ROM as well. Yeah, it could have been either. But yeah, it's just generally for people on Facebook were asking, oh, don't you have a few people said, oh, you don't have a YouTube channel, as if expecting that I should and I would. And you know, when I first looked into it, I was like, wow, I seriously, it's something like I've totally missed in my life for like the last 10 years where I should have been engaging with it. But hey, you know, that's life.
So obviously this episode we've talked a bit about gaming addictions. Now, your gaming addiction being, well, Sega, or more specifically Sonic Team, I guess. What would you say is the most addictive game you've ever played, though?
Phantasy Star Online, without a doubt. I still play it online today. I've been playing it for 20 years. I play it every Wednesday for hours and hours and hours, and it always gets to about 4 a.m. and I'm sitting there with my clan, and we're all going, this has got to stop at some point in our life where we just don't play this. It is an addiction. I've gone through a really bad spell of it recently, but I've been playing it every day, and it's got really bad. And again, this is, do you know what? People are going to listen to this and think, what's happened here? I'm going to have to hand in my Sega card. I've actually defected from Phantasy Star Online on the Dreamcast onto the GameCube version because it runs a lot smoother online. I know, and I'll tell you why. You guys on the video can see it because you get to use this really funky Phantasy Star Online controller as well, which is just the nuts. But anyway, beyond that, no, it just runs better than the Dreamcast one for actual online play. But if I was playing it for single player game, I'd play it probably on Dreamcast because it's because it's the Dreamcast. But I'm absolutely addicted to that game. If it wasn't that game, I also play a game called Heroes of Might and Magic 2, which is a turn-based strategy game, which is, you know, just a big, massive army game. And it saps so much time. And it's like I have this real competitive streak in those kind of games where I want to win in the best way possible. And it can become a problem. Like, I think gaming addiction, although we can just about how much we play games, it can become an issue. Like it sounds a bit silly, but sometimes my hands get really badly cramped, like playing games where I play them.
We'll do with that controller.
With that control, it's actually more comfortable actually because you can sit like this of it on your lap. It's like a TV tray or something. But I think yeah, Phantasy Star Online. That's the one. That's the one game where I will just plow like 10 hours might go past in a day, and I'm thinking, what am I doing with my life? This is ridiculous.
I've never played it. Have any of you guys?
I like it. Yeah.
Never played it.
I've heard of it.
Dreamcast,
Yeah, I've heard of the Dreamcast one, and I know it's on GameCube.
I haven't really played it recently because it's you need to get online with Dreamcast now. Is you've got to do it through the unnatural methods. Dream Pie,
That's why the GameCube's easier, because the GameCube one, I've got a GameCube broadband adapter, and you literally can just plug it straight into your internet. You go on the website, get a code, stick it into your game, and you're online. It's that simple. It's that simple.
So is that still?
One, got a faff.
Yeah, so is that still the original servers, the official servers on the Dreamcube?
No, Sega closed those in, oh God, knowledge now, 2007. The servers went down for that officially. So these are fan-made servers, but they inadvertently have an unofficial Sega blessing, which is great. So some people I've spoken to inside Sega have said they don't mind it. If it was Nintendo, they'd probably want to close it down and all that sort of stuff. But Sega actually think it's great. And the fact that people are still playing their games online today and putting all that effort in, and it's free. Before, Phantasy Star Online used to have to buy what's called a hunter's license, which I suppose in the modern day sense would be like called a season pass in modern gaming sense. And it was $5.99 a month, and then you'd get access to it all online. But now it's free, and the guys that run the servers, they don't ask any money for it. I don't know how they do it, because it must cost an absolute fortune, because they're really popular. Loads of people play online all the time. They add new quests into it. It's not a passive experience. They're always like adding in new things and creating new weapons and stuff. So it's still a living, breathing game. 20 years later, there's still people creating stuff for it, and there's still a whole host of people playing it. And I think that's what I'm addicted to. It's not so much the game itself is a wonderfully made game. There's no doubt about that. It's one of Mr. Knacker's best. But the fact that the community is so vibrant, and it is a retro Sega game, and everyone still goes online and plays it and has a real good community spirit, that's the addiction. The addiction is the community. And I've made so many friends on it that I actually kind of consider them like close friends now, which seems bizarre when you're talking about people on the internet that you type messages to or whatever. But that's where we're at. That's where we're up to with gaming now. That I don't know how much you want me to talk about this, but I was watching a bit of Twitch yesterday, and there was a young lady on there from America who had been playing on Twitch, like her Twitch stream. When I clicked onto it, it was Grand Theft Auto 5. Not a game I'm particularly au fait with. I don't know a lot about it, but she'd been playing for 27 hours. And I confirmed it. I was like, because I was like, have you been playing for 27 hours? And she was like, oh yeah. And when I was watching it, it was just hanging around with her friends in the game. She wasn't being a gangster running around. Because when I think Grand Theft Auto, I didn't even know it was online. But when I think about it, I just think you go around, you kill people, you blow up policemen. That's my vision of Grand Theft Auto. But there's like this whole living world on there. Like The Sims, but like with gangsters. It was bizarre. And she was sitting in this house talking to some friends, and she was actually phoning them up on the game and actually talking to them through a headset. And I'm just like mind blown. And I thought to myself, this girl is addicted, clearly doesn't leave the house, and she's living a life. It's almost like some sort of like dystopian future, like Philip K. Dick book or something, where, like an Inception kind of thing. Mental. But she clearly had a problem. And I didn't say it, obviously, but I was thinking this clearly is an issue for this girl, because she's clearly not living in the real world. She's only young. She must be in her 20s. And I just thought, this is bizarre. You've been sitting on here for 27 hours, allowing the world to watch you, because she had lots of viewers, and just living out your day to day with your friends, texting them, phoning them through the game. There was Twitter on Grand Theft Auto.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. I didn't know Grand Theft Auto did as much as that, but I'm not a big Grand Theft Auto guy.
No.
It's one of those games I'm always impressed when I see it. And when I try it, I'm always impressed at the scope and the scale of it. But it always seems too much to me. I'm like, okay, there's an entire world there, and I just want to know where to go next. So
it's very overwhelming as a game, I find, especially now. There's so much on it, and because I just thought it was quite a simple game. You steal a car, you kill a cop, you rob a bank, whatever you do. But no, there's this whole living world. This whole the only way I could describe it is like the Sims adult version. Yeah, where they're all having conversations, and it was crazy. But you could tell that people were addicted to it, and because I'm on Twitch and I do a lot of streaming. I can see where people get the addiction from. Like, I have people that come on my streams and they seem to be quite upset when I'm stopping streaming, which I find and I also sort of have to coach them a little bit into, it's okay. Like, you don't have to worry. I'll be back at some point to do another stream. But it's almost like they need these people to be able to interact with them virtually. Like they can't just, it's like this is their real life. So which is
worrying.
That's the danger of video games.
Oh. Well,
it's good in that way, though, isn't it? It seems to be like, it's going that way, like avatars and all these open world games. Like you watch things like Ready Player One, you think, oh wow, that's really futuristic, but it's coming. It's slowly
quite
coming.
realistic. That's
Yeah.
that's it. Ready Player One was the game I was thinking of the film I was thinking of when I was watching this Grand Theft Auto. I was like, this is like that film. Like exactly like you've just said, Chris. It's like that film is like some sort of fantasy, but actually that is the reality, and we're not that far away from that. Maybe not the big tech and the virtual reality, but just playing online constantly and living our lives in a world like that. It's quite the reality for some people now. I think it is a problem that as a society we need to engage youngsters a little bit more with. There is an outside world. You know, I know my nieces, they're only like babies, but whenever I see them, it's iPad this, iPad that. Whereas when I was a little kid, I'd be like, let's go to the park and run around. You know, this whole idea now of children and young people, because they've grown up with online, their whole world is online, and it's all, and most of them will play computer games. That it is an addiction that is hard to break, because the adults don't know what to do, because they're also in the cycle of it. How many times do you see adults sitting there with their kids and everyone's on their phone?
All the time, all the time.
Yeah.
The thing that worries me when you with that sort of thing is when it comes to Twitch and some of these Twitch streamers. I'm not massively into Twitch. I've dabbled a little bit, but there's some of these. I don't know what the correct word is for them, but these girl gamers, where they seem to encourage lonely guys to just give them money.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen videos of people have done these like exposed videos sort of thing on YouTube and stuff where there'll be some of them. These this cute little bouncy girly gamer. He. I'm wearing bunny ears and I'm playing Mario or whatever they do. But actually getting stroppy when people aren't paying them enough money in Twitch donations and things, and it's the cringe is for me, for someone who's not used to that sort of world. I was like cringing almost inside out at these poor buggers getting browbeaten off this 19-year-old girl for not giving her enough money.
It is odd, isn't it? And I don't want to segue the conversation too much, but it was almost like a mistress. Like like I saw the videos. I wasn't familiar with the girl myself, but when I watched it, I was cringing, thinking, "Is that really what the world's come to?" Where she just expects that, like you say, mostly, and let's not try to generalize too much, but I suppose we have to, like lonely guys who want some attention, and if that's how they get it by giving money, well, we all know that's the oldest job in the world, don't we? But let's not segue into that. But it is just another way, and that in itself can be addicting. So maybe we're like, for me, thinking about computer game addiction is playing a game like Phantasy Star over and over again because I just physically can't stop it. But maybe other parts of an addiction in the computer game world are with these streamers and people watching them and having almost like this sort of pseudo celebrity relationship with these streamers who they're doing it for a living, which, I never question how people make their money. That's up to them. But it is strange that then people, how many people probably like got themselves in debt because of that, because they get too much into it and they end up giving too much money and stuff. And the person on the end of it, the streamer on the end of it, they don't know that person's getting themselves in debt because they'll not see that because it's almost like not the real world. It's like a virtual relationship, isn't it? There we go.
It works the other way as well. So I've got a girl who works with me, and she's into Twitch and she plays like Apex and Call of Duty, that kind of thing. And she's on Twitch and she's came off it now because she told me she was getting the wrong attention. Like she was getting followers after the wrong kind of thing. So there's another side of it as well. It's almost like a societal issue with it, and it's only going to get worse if it doesn't get checked.
It's weird. I mean, even now, if you want to really see it, go into any kind of multiplayer game, like especially like a World of Warcraft or something like that, and create yourself a female avatar. The people give you more attention, and it's tough because at no point have you said I'm a girl, and I want attention. I'm a bloke in his mid-40s. I just happen to have chosen to play as a female elf this time. But all of a sudden, people think, okay, and they try to, I don't know, live a relationship online or something. I've not played Warcraft in 15 years or something, but that's kind of how it was. In fact, a friend of mine would always, whenever he played online, always choose a female character because every other player was nicer to you. Like, it's only, but sometimes
that's odd, isn't it? That's odd.
A little bit too much. Well, that's a dark side of the internet. You did bring us to a dark place, Faithful.
I think we'll probably end up going into all sorts of strange discussions. But no, but you are right, and I think if we're sort of bringing that back to addiction, then there are guys out there who will, you know, for whatever reason, sort of seek out those online relationships through games, and that can be very unhealthy. You know, not talking about the money side of it. That's a whole different ball game. But just thinking that the friends, like I've been there, where people have been overly familiar online, and I'm trying to explain, you know, like this is just a game, and you know, I have a real life with a boyfriend and all sorts of things going on outside of this screen. Yeah, but people do, and then they kind of like think that it's like an opportunity to start something. And
some people do. Some people find love online, I suppose, playing video games or whatever. And however you're finding, if it's mutual, then all the best to you. But yeah, just because I didn't kill you in Call of Duty is probably more to do with the fact that I'm useless at it rather than I want to take you to bed.
Real sharpshooter, eh?
Well, okay. Okie doke. Right, let's so what we'll do, obviously, as I said, Sega's your thing and the thing you do, so that's lighten the mood a little bit with it. What I wanted to discuss with you as well is it seems recently Sonic especially it's had a little bit of a resurgence. For years Sonic games were a joke. And then Sonic Mania seemed to be the start of an upturn. The Sonic movie was well received. I've not seen it. Did you?
Of course, and it was brilliant because it was released on Valentine's Day. So my boyfriend, who's a huge Mario fan, couldn't believe that he had to take me to the cinema to watch a Sonic movie on Valentine's Day. I think it's brilliant. It's absolutely, I will never forget that. It was a decent film. Like, I mean, it wasn't amazing. It wasn't like, you know, going to win an Oscar or anything. But as a film, considering it was based on a computer game, when you think about video game films, they're normally pretty rubbish. There's a few exceptions, but usually, and I thought if you put it in that mix of films, it's actually probably one of the better ones. But I think more than that, they really hit the audience right. And with Sonic Mania as well. So they've kind of had this two-pronged approach, Sega, where for the first time pretty much ever, they literally let another developer have full control over a computer game. So they allow Christian Whitehead and his retro engine to do everything. And normally Sonic Team or someone from Sega would have sort of oversight of a game that was being developed for Sonic, even if it was a developer that wasn't an actual Sega team. They'd still have someone in there, whether it be like Yuji Naka or whoever it would be, to oversee things. And that was the first time that no one from Sega was allowed to say, do this, do that. And look how successful it is. It's been the most successful Sonic game, maybe not in terms of money generated, because it wasn't like a £50 game or anything, but in terms of bringing the brand back up and, you know, IP recognition. And it was really popular with younger gamers as well. So all that nostalgia for Sonic come flooding back to lots of people who just enjoyed it because they just liked Sonic back in the day. And there was also, because it was such an accessible game with really bright colours and really good music, and even though it was tough, it was still playable. A lot of younger players, I know I've seen kids playing it who really enjoy it, and then they discovered Sonic through that. Whereas if it wasn't for that game, they probably never would, because the Sonic Forces, which is absolutely terrible, was released around the same time, and that was just ridiculously rubbish. And it was like, that's the actual Sega game. So Sonic has had a massive resurgence recently. They've announced the second movie, and they're going to hopefully put more money into it. And we've got the Sonic 30th anniversary next June, where I'm pretty sure Sega, fingers crossed, will do another good Sonic game to celebrate that. And you know, I'm looking forward to the 30th anniversary myself. So yeah, it's good times for Sonic at the moment, and Sega have been posting massive profits, and a lot of that is to do with Sonic and the Sonic movie and things like Sonic Mania, and just the fact that they've actually been putting out some pretty good games the last couple of years. I think it's good times for Sega. They're on the up now, and their arcade machines. You know, we've got the basketball there that we can see in the picture, like, you know, things like that. I was in Newquay in Cornwall for a holiday recently, and we went in one arcade there, one of the seaside amusements, and like every other machine was a Sega machine. There was like a Transformers gun one. There was a couple of different like grabber machines. Sega even made what the company responsible for the change machines, where you put your pound coins in to get the 2p's out. They were even made by Sega. It had made by Sega at the bottom. So they're even being strong in their traditional market, which is the arcade. So I think it's good times for Sega. I'm happy. As a Sega fan, I'm on top of the world at the moment. It's been so doom and gloom for the last 10 years. But the last couple of years, especially for Sonic, it's been amazing. And just record profits for Sega since they become a third-party developer. So
Can I make a confession?
Yeah.
I really liked Sonic Forces.
Did you?
honestly, I know it sounds tough. I played it all the way through, loved it. It was 3D Sonic. It was reminded me of the 3D Sonic levels from Sonic Generations.
Yeah,
the whole game reminded me of Sonic Generations.
Can I make a confession, Simon?
What's that?
I've never played it.
Oh, there's a surprise. Michael doesn't play games. He just runs a retro game website.
He just makes money.
Yeah. So, no, I really enjoyed it. At the time as well, I enjoyed you create your own character in it, don't you? And you play.
I didn't like that. See, that's the part I didn't like. Where I found that very gimmicky. Like I found like, why am I putting on this costume? I tell a lie. I liked building the character because I could build my own Sonic character. But then having to use all these gimmicks and moves and stuff, I felt it was just for me personally, it was taking away from the core gameplay of Sonic and trying to add in too much. But yeah, it is popular actually in the Sonic communities. A lot of like younger people seem to enjoy it as well, and don't understand why it's gets the stick. It. But,
I put my cat in the game as the character.
There you are.
Played through it as him.
Maybe I should do that.
It was no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wasn't going to give it any time at all, but Jim Sterling did a video on it saying that he'd really, really enjoyed it, despite. I mean, that's clearly there's a lot you can point out is wrong with the game. I'm not saying it's a great game, but he said he just really enjoyed it. And
yeah, I think I'm probably being harsh on it. If you took Sonic out of it, it'll be like a 7 out of 10 game. But because it's Sonic and there's that anticipation that it's got to be something special, and it didn't quite deliver on that. I think for people that aren't fans of Sonic, they can probably appreciate it more than the people that have suffered since 2002.
Yeah, it's better than obviously Sonic Heroes or Sonic Riders or we'll not get into Sonic 06. So, but I enjoyed it. But there you go. But like obviously Michael won't know. But Michael, as a Sega guy, you own a few Sega arcades, don't you?
I've got a few. House of the Dead, Jurassic Park.
You haven't got Jurassic Park. You've got Lost World.
Lost World, sorry. I can't remember what else I've got. I've got a few.
You've got Sega Rally. You've got
Sega Rally.
Sega Rally, yeah, I got that.
Is Terminator Sega?
No, Bally Midway.
All right.
Michael's just opened an arcade up here in the northeast, so in Gateshead.
Yeah,
For those watching,
how's that going?
Good, it's good. It's good fun. Enjoying it.
It is good fun. Apart from the social distancing.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, wrong timing.
Yeah.
for anyone watching, it's in Felling High Street, isn't it?
That's right, yeah, Gateshead.
So, and we were hoping to do a podcast live from the arcade, but then we all got locked down again, so we can't.
Wow. Well, next time I pop up that way to the Newcastle and that way, I'll definitely have to pop in. Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, guys, there was a couple of big bits of retro, well, not retro at all. The opposite of retro, future gaming news this past week. There was the pre-orders went up for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and Series S. Did anyone partake?
No.
Just me?
I tried. I was going to pre-order a disc one, but they'd also allow. So I'll get one.
What, the PS5 or the Xbox?
PS5 disc one, yeah.
Yeah. Because the Xbox seemed to have gone more with embracing the whole backwards compatibility a lot more.
I wish PlayStation, for what it must cost, it must be pennies to put a PS1, PS2 capability in there. It must be nothing, surely.
That would have changed. I mean, I ordered the Series X. I like what they're doing with Game Pass. I like this. As much as I love me physical games, Game Pass has been great to me. Recently, when I bought Streets of Rage 4, I bought the physical edition on Switch from Limited Run Games. Their lens.
That's what I'm going.
That's
yeah.
got one of the worst ever front covers, worst cover arts of a game I've ever seen. Who on earth thought that was a good idea? That one with the axle in the silhouette. No, it just looks awful.
But I was waiting for that to arrive because obviously it took them months to print them. So it just meant I got to, I played it through on
Mine
Game
still
Pass.
hasn't arrived. I still haven't got mine.
See,
Sorry.
but if you had Game Pass, you could have finished it like I did. I've just
played
played
it yet. I've never played it.
I've just played through
still waiting.
Battletoads. Battletoads was another good one on there.
I need to get that. I need to get
Battletoads. I like the sound that they've got the Bethesda stuff now as well. I think Game Pass, as much as I do like me physical editions of games, what I'll do if a top game comes out next generation, it's going to be 70 quid for a new game now. So I'll play it on Game Pass, and if it's that good, in a year or two's time, I'll buy myself a used copy, to have the disc on my shelf. So I like what Xbox are doing, and what I also like is that they've said that they're going to go backwards compatible more. They're going to do anything that was backwards compatible on Xbox One will be backwards compatible on the new Xbox. So that's a massive chunk of the 360 library. Some of the original Xbox stuff, and they've said they're going to keep adding more. Xbox seem to have embraced this whole, because they don't make any money off it. They don't make any money off you sticking your old 360 game in and playing it. But what they do is gain fans. I'm liking it. So I will get both. I will eventually get a PS5. I always do. But for the minute, I think Xbox are making all the right noises for me.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I don't have I won't probably buy either for a long time. I've only just recently, the last year or so, got a 360. That's how far behind I am, and I've only recently got a PS3, so I'm always about 10 years behind. But in terms of modern gaming, I do have the Game Pass on the PC, which is slightly different to the console one. You haven't got all of the games, but you got most of them, and it's felt good getting back into modern gaming that way, where I can spend £10 a month and try. I mean, yesterday I got a new without meaning to derail the discussion about the new consoles, but being able to try out all those games in quick succession yesterday, because I got a new monitor for my PC for video editing, and being able to just test it out with downloading 3 or 4 games from Xbox Game Pass for the sake of £2.50 a week, and I played 3 of them and thought, oh no, that's not for me. I'll uninstall that. So I'm with you, Simon. The Game Pass thing, especially if they've got EA, Bethesda, and all that going on. I honestly think that Microsoft are really taking it to Sony now, and I think Sony have either got to get some really, really good exclusives. But isn't their biggest game just a remake of Spider-Man?
Well, that's the one I wanted when it came to PS5. The big game I wanted out of it was Spider-Man Miles Morales, but Miles Morales is just an expansion to Spider-Man. And I think it does come bundled with a 4K remake of Spider-Man or whatever. But how different is it really going to be to the Spider-Man I've been playing on PS4 Pro?
How much is it, Simon?
Spider-Man.
No. How much is the consoles?
They're 450 each.
450 each. Now, is that a normal price come Christmas for an average, family?
To be fair. What they're packing,
spend £450 on a console.
It's a lot of money. It is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
For what they're packing, though, especially the Xbox Series X, but the PlayStation 5 as well, there's some hellish technology in them. Much more so than there was when the PS4 and Xbox One were released. PS4 and Xbox One released as I would say, the equivalent of a mid-range PC at best.
But don't you think it's for someone our age to buy for themselves and not for a family who've got 3-4 kids?
Yeah, I'm dreading my daughter piping up that she wants an Xbox Series X for Christmas because I know it's coming.
Because it is a lot of money, isn't it?
Can I just say this, though, like I've got to flag the PlayStation flag a little bit here because the exclusive games that PlayStation have got for the launch titles are far superior to anything that Xbox has.
But what they got?
Announced so far.
Launch-wise, what have they got?
Well, what they've advertised so far, not necessarily launched, but things like Resident Evil 8, it's huge. I mean,
next year, though.
As a Resident Evil fan, you've got
I want it. Out of everything Sony showed, it was Resident Evil 8 that I was most interested in, but it ain't out till next year, which is why I'll wait then.
But it's exclusive for a year, I think, as well. I think that's going to be exclusive for the first year. And I just think that the press conferences they've had have been far more impressive. Game Pass aside, I think PlayStation will probably have something up the sleeve with that. Then you've also got, Microsoft buying Bethesda. That's massive for Microsoft, but there's nothing really in the works there, really, apart from the fact that Elder Scrolls 6 will come out at some point, and Fallout 5 will come out at some point. There's nothing concrete at the moment. There's not going to be launch titles.
No, but they're playing the long game there as well, though, aren't they? They're going to be have them developing some great games for them, coming up with some new IPs. They've just acquired some of the best programmers in the world. Now
they've also got a history of destroying
and they had to.
Well.
Don't get us wrong, they had to, because as much as I don't think either console has a great launch lineup, there's very few actual exclusives they've got to launch with. Most of them are also available on PS4 or whatever. In the long term, Sony looked like they had the better games coming with like God of War and stuff like that. So Microsoft had to do something, and I'm impressed with what they've done. Microsoft's, ace has always been the Game Pass, being it absolutely trounces anything Sony have got of that style. But what it needed was some big games to launch on that. Now, what I suspect they're going to do with the likes of Bethesda, so say Elder Scrolls or the next Fallout comes out, I think they'll allow it to come out on PlayStation 5.
I think so too. But initially, yeah.
Because for two reasons, and I don't think it's just because it'll make a lot of money on PlayStation 5. I think what it'll be advertised is, if you want to play Elder Scrolls on PlayStation 5, it's 70 quid. If you want to play Elder Scrolls on Xbox, it's included in Game Pass and costs you now.
Yeah.
That's a selling point, isn't it?
You've hit it on the head. It'd be like, why would you want to spend £70 on a game when let's say by then the first reductions of the consoles have come in, so maybe they've gone down to say 350, 300 or something after 18 months or whatever, or there's a budget version released. And exactly like you've said, do you want to have to spend £400 on a PS5 and then £70, £80 on some game with the download, or have it all in one box, the Xbox? It's all there.
That's why Xbox. Yeah. That's why the Series S, if you're not like us and you don't hoard physical games, the Series S is a decent shout. If you haven't got a 4K TV and you just want to play the games in high def, 1080p up to 440 or something, it says it does. It doesn't have a disc drive, but it's 250 quid. You can pay 250 quid and get a console, grab yourself Game Pass, and never have to worry about buying a game. You're going to get great games every month. And God, that's coming from me, who's filled his house with discs. And I don't want to see the day when we no longer can buy physical games, but I can totally see the appeal.
But it's coming. It's coming. I've embraced it. I embraced it when I got a Switch. When Sonic Mania came out and I needed a way to play it, I was like, well, I have to buy something. And I thought, looking at all these consoles, the only one I like to look of is I like to also look at some of the Nintendo games. Well, I go with the Switch, and I've embraced digital. Like when I love it as well, because it's not even the convenience. It's just that the ability to just be able to get it instantly. So you haven't got to go to the shop to get it, or you haven't got to go send off for it or get it, delivered to you or whatever you need to get. It's just there. It's downloaded in minutes a lot of the time, especially sort of games I play. I think someone like me, who's more of a retro indie gamer, having the ability to not have everything physical is a really good thing, because you'd hate it if you sort of wanted to buy an indie game that should cost about a £5, but then because it's on a cartridge or a CD, it costs 20 quid.
Yeah,
I'm embracing it, and I'm exactly the same like you said, Simon. I'm someone that fills my house with bits of plastic and cardboard for no reason except it's an obsession. But when I've seen the light a little bit, without getting too hippie about it, but things like the amount of plastic it takes to make discs and cardboard and trees and everything, having everything digital in the future will be beneficial to the planet and stuff. And I know that's getting a bit far out, but it is the truth that we have to eventually embrace it.
Especially on portable consoles as well. I was very much that way with the Vita. I loved my PS Vita, but I tended to buy most stuff digital because I used to take it on holiday with us and stuff. I didn't want to be taking a bag of 20 cartridges that I'm very likely just to leave on the plane. It's great having digital games, and stuff like the Switch sales have been fantastic. Michael was a big fan of that when they had Mother Russia Bleeds for, how was it, 90 pence or something?
It was only like £1 something. It was brilliant.
And I still haven't got it cheap. I still haven't got that game, by the way, guys.
It's fantastic.
This is where I'm thinking, because hitting the shelves soon are the two new big consoles. Where does that leave Nintendo? Where do you think?
They've got their
the
own
Switch
niche, haven't they?
the Switch is still selling strong, isn't it? As soon as
Yeah.
they stop the shelves, it sells out. Nintendo don't have to do anything. Nintendo can sit pretty, knowing that all those kids are still asking their parents for Switches, and
Switch,
that's all they need to do. And then,
Switch is its own
and
thing.
the selling point for the Switch, it's £280, not £450. You know, that's the selling point, isn't it, for the Switch?
Well,
And
my kids don't play the PlayStation. They play the Switch.
Switch,
They're
yeah.
literally. I'll come back now. Where's the Switch gone? The dock's sitting empty, and they've just taken the Switch, went to the room, and away they go. PlayStation, you got to load it up. You got to put on a big. The convenience of the Switch is
The
fantastic.
Switch is not competing with the PlayStation and Xbox. It's its own thing.
yeah,
The best
it
thing
is
you'd have is
something.
a PlayStation or an Xbox and a Switch. Which is what Nintendo kind of always done. I can remember, back the 6th generation, you'd have a GameCube and either an Xbox or a PlayStation 2. Xbox or PlayStation 2 for your mainstream games, then your GameCube for your Nintendo exclusives. Lots of people had a Wii and either a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360. Nintendo always seemed to find a niche.
Well, the handheld market's crap in comparison to, Sony didn't even want to compete in the end. They gave up on the Vita. Xbox have got no interest in going in that market.
Well, the Vita was a travesty because it was a great little console that they put.
Fantastic. I love my Vita. I still got it. I love my Vita.
Absolutely great console.
And now the 3DS is finished, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
Not my household. It's not.
Continued the other day, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
10 years strong.
It's doing well. Doing really well. Well,
Thing is, though, it's only that's only the actual console, though. There was a bit of a basically the announcement actually was that Nintendo just stopped supporting the machines. There'll still be loads of games released for it.
Yeah.
Maybe not actual Nintendo ones, but there'll be loads of companies that will still make, like they still make Wii games, don't they? There's companies that still make them because people will buy them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Retro City Rampage came out, didn't it? Was a few weeks ago.
It did.
Oh,
Retro City
yeah.
Rampage and
Hawaii Shakedown.
that was it.
Guyana Sisters, was it, or something? No.
Hawaii Shakedown, yeah. I was tempted to order them, but it's like, to really, there was the FOMO for a second there. Oh, if I don't get them, they'll sell out. And then I thought, I own Retro City Rampage on so many different systems. Would I ever play it on Wii?
No.
But it's a cracking game if you haven't played it.
But just quickly on the physical media, digital media thing, especially with Faith sitting there now, like Sonic 3, you can't get Sonic 3 on any modern consoles because of licensing issues and all the rest of it. The best way to play it is physical, back on the Mega Drive. So
the best way to play is the one you've got there, Sonic Jam.
Really?
Save it, because you can save it. You can save it. You got more save space and stuff. You can make multiple files on your Sega Saturn. But no,
it's not the same game though. It's not the same game. The rebuilt Sonic Jam, didn't it? So the game's all been rebuilt from the ground up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. They did build them all up from the. It's not emulated. It's built. I like that one on the. That's a good one. That one.
I like the GameCube one. The GameCube was its Sonic Mega Collection.
Yeah, Sonic Mega Collection was pretty decent.
That's the one. I tend to like the GameCube version. I suppose because I like playing it with a GameCube controller.
Yes, I'm exactly with you. I played that Sonic Mega Collection to death when I got that first. That was the reason. The reason why I bought a GameCube was because of all the Sega games that were coming out on it. When I saw it, it's like, I have to get one of those.
It was almost like the Dreamcast successor, wasn't it? The GameCube.
Yeah, everyone says the Xbox was, but actually, it's more like the GameCube was actually more like a Sega console.
Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure DX or whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
Phantasy Star. It's got loads
Phantasy
of Sonic
Star.
theme games on it. Yeah.
Skies of Arcadia as well. That was a great one.
That's not as good on the GameCube though, because of the discs are so small. They really condense the music. Sadly, still a great game though. Only a few people will notice the differences. But yeah, GameCube was amazing. I still play it to this. I love game. It's the only retro console I actually set up in my living room. I'm sitting in my living room now, and I've got a Dreamcast. There's a few, but the only one that's permanently set up is a GameCube. Weirdly, oddly.
Right, guys. I think we're kind of out for time because we've chatted.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. I'm just.
Oh my god! Who was that interrupting the podcast? Name and shame. Name and shame.
Selfish people. It was my housemate, Lauren.
Lauren, if you're watching this,
yeah, she's not watching it. Yeah, come on, Lauren.
So Faith, it's been amazing talking to you. Certainly been one of our chattier guests, and all the better for it. It actually gives my gob a rest for once, doesn't it?
Yes.
Now, as everyone knows, what we like to do when we finish the Retro Den podcast is, well, I have a little giveaway. So it's this week. Chris Sager has a prize to give away, and it is a brand new copy of Animal Crossing on 3DS.
3D.
Still sealed in that with its Argos discount sticker on it. And not that much cheap here in Northeast Retro Den.
On this podcast.
Yeah.
When you only get 3 people watching, you kind of push the boat out too far. But we're going to get Faith as our guest for this week to give you a quote. It'll be a quote from something from 70s, 80s, or 90s pop culture. It could be a game, it could be a TV show, it could be a movie. Faith will give you the quote. The first one to put the correct answer as to where she got it from in the Northeast Retro Den thread for this video will win Animal Crossing on the 3DS, courtesy of Chris Sager. Off you go, Faith. What's the quote?
Have you ever had your asshole licked by a fat man in an overcoat?
Have you ever had your asshole licked by a fat man in an overcoat? I'm taking the fifth on that one. But if you know which movie, game, TV show, or whatever that comes from, put it down below in the thread. In the meantime, this has been the Northeast Retro Den podcast. I just want to thank again my fellow hosts, Chris Sager, Michael Henderson, and of course, Retro Faith. Cheers very much, everybody. It's been a good one.
Guys.
Keep it hard.